Ring the bell.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Slam Society and welcome to another retro review here on the Slam Society, because this weekend TNA Slammiversary will be taking place from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And I thought, like I've been doing when a pay-per-view's been coming up, or a PLE, I have been going and checking out a show from the past that may have something to do with the upcoming PLE. So I decided to look at the TNA first anniversary show from the 18th of June, 2003, from the Asylum in Nashville, Tennessee. And I tell you what, this was fucking interesting to check out, this show. Honestly, it is a moment in time, and I'm going to get to that in just a moment. The show begins with an instrumental version of System of a Down. It's a great song, but clearly it's a rip-off version of it. They have a package highlighting the X Division, and then it highlights everybody else. This is what I like. This is what I like about Vince Russo's writing, and writing from back then. It's not just him. Other people did it too. The show opens with a limousine arriving. Why don't we get that anymore? We never get the limousine arrival to the building anymore. The only time we ever see like a vehicle enter the building is like when LA Knight's driving his fucking Slim Jim car into the building. Honestly, it's there's a charm to it, I think. You know, someone arriving in a fucking limo. I mean, it's sick. I mean, immediately you get your eyes, well, who's someone important's arrived. Shane Douglas is the one who shows his face as he gets out of the limousine. I have to always laugh at pro wrestlers and their fake laughing. It always makes me, it always pops me. The franchise is here and it's time to make some noise. That's pretty much what he said. But anyway, just, you know, when someone's fake laughing, like 50 Cent on like one of his tracks, like, yeah. Okay, anyway, first matchup on the show here, Sports Entertainment Extreme, a very underrated stable, dude. Sonny Siaki, Don Harris, and David Young taking on Frankie Kazarian, D'Lo Brown, and the Sandman. Okay. I have to get this out of my system. Dude, okay. Remember NWA TNA back in the day? They had the chicks dancing in the cages, right? I know that there's so many people out there that don't like stuff like this. Grow a sack, dude, okay? Don't you like hot women? They're getting paid. They're happy, right? Dude, that chick Lollipop who was in one of the cages, dude, it's like, okay. When I was young, you know, I was a lot younger here. This is 2003, right? It's now 2024. It was 21 years ago. I was a young man, you know. I was hitting puberty then. I was, you know, in the prime of my, you know what. And when this chick shows up on the screen shaking her hot tush, dude, I remember what it used to do to me back then. And I got the hit of nostalgia when I watched this the other day, and I was like, oh God, shit. Oh man, I remember that. I remember how it made me feel, and 21 years later, it still has the same effect. Let's move forward. So okay, Sonny Siaki, dude. Sonny Siaki. See, you look at the early TNA or NWA TNA episodes. This is the 50th episode, I believe, that they had recorded of the weekly pay-per-views. But TNA, right? Back then, 2003, you kind of, when you look at the show after all these years, you kind of forget about who was there and the mix of people that were there, right? Sonny Siaki, right? This is a guy that could have definitely ascended to, you know, quite some heights in the business as far as I'm concerned. You know, I thought he was very talented. He had charisma. I think maybe what might have held him back a little bit was, you know, Some people kind of thinking he was, like the diet version of The Rock, but that's still being the diet version of The Rock. Is that bad? You know, um, his last match was in 2009. He gave his kidney to his brother. So that's why he stopped performing as a pro wrestler. But this is 2003. I was surprised to see that they didn't try and give him a bit more of a push later down the line. I was just like looking through his match history and thought, I thought Sonny, early TNA, he was like the X Division champion for Sports Entertainment Extreme, and he was really getting a push. But then after this, I feel like he didn't really do a whole lot. I know he teamed with Umaga, I think. But anywho, so yeah, his last match in 2009. And fun fact, last two matches were against Buff Bagwell and then Marty Jannetty. D'Lo Brown in this matchup. He's now an agent for TNA. He had his last match last year. I believe it was a 6-man. For Border Championship Wrestling. Frankie Kazarian's in the match. He's still in TNA. Still hasn't won the TNA World Championship. That's a story. That's a story for the future, don't you think? I always love those journeys finally culminating, like a Christopher Daniels winning the Ring of Honor title. Someone's massive journey finally culminating and becoming the world champion. I think that should be something that should happen for Frankie in the next couple of years. Heavy D, Don Harris is in the match. Heavy D, bro. Me and my friend Mike used to, I don't know why. I don't know if it was tongue in cheek, but we were marks for Heavy D, Don Harris. I think it's because his nickname was Heavy D. He retired in 2005 and formed Aralucha with his brother Ron. David Young is in the match. He still wrestles occasionally, 8 times so far this year. The Sandman in this matchup here, he has had 2 matches this year in 2024, but one match was less than 2 minutes in length, and the other one was a 7-minute tag team match. So he's not doing a whole lot. And I've heard that Sandman actually doesn't drink anymore, which maybe he's already filled his quota for his whole life at this point. Anyway, look, let's get to the match here. I don't have that much to say about it. It is like the continuation here of TNA battling Vince Russo's Sports Entertainment Extreme. The match only went 3 minutes and 53 seconds, but it was action-packed. The Sandman, though, I laughed because he spent most of the fucking match outside the ring, fucking around with the fans. He wasn't even standing on the ring apron fairly often at all to get a tag. And the camera cut to him and he was bumming a cigarette off a fan who lit the cigarette for him, right? Then finally, some action spills to the outside. Sandman gets caught in the crosshairs. Don Harris, there's a shot, bro, at one stage, Don Harris. The camera just cuts to Don Harris beating the absolute fuck out of the Sandman at ringside. And you think to yourself, like, look at Don Harris. Look at the size of this fucking guy. And Sandman's this fucking fat, like, well, he's not fat, but like, he's out clearly not in the best shape at that stage. And, he's just fucking had a cigarette and he's just getting the shit beaten out of him by this machine of a man. Anyway, it's such a weird mix of talent in this match. I mean, you got David Young, who was very well known as being like a guy who could do X Division style matches, despite being a bit more portly in size in comparison to, an Amazing Red or Jerry Lynn or an AJ Styles, etc. Sandman's from ECW. D'Lo Brown's like fucking WWF is written all over him. Don Harris, one half of the Harris brothers. It was, in WCW and WWF. Sonny Siaki, this tiny version of The Rock almost. Frankie Kazarian at this stage. He's known as the future Frankie Kazarian, and he had his nice little long hair and everything. It's just an interesting mix of talent. D'Lo ended up hitting a sweet lowdown for the win, kind of like frog splash and turning in mid-air. Very cool. I have to say, Sandman did not earn his paycheck in this matchup. I don't know what he made for this, but it was he did nothing. Like, imagine getting paid like $1,500 for a 3-minute 53-second match, and you don't even have to do anything other than smoke a cigarette and drink a beer. Um, Sports Entertainment Extreme attack the baby faces after this matchup. Mike Sanders and Ron Harris rushed out to help out. Sting and Jarrett then clear the house. Dude, okay. When Sting is walking to the ring with Jarrett, he's got his trench coat, he's got the baseball bat, his hair's all, long. Dude, I'm like, man, look at this fucking guy. Look at this fucking guy as he walks out. I'm like, they don't make him like that anymore, do they? Like, he has so much fucking charisma. He's walking to the ring, gets in the ring, they clean fucking house. And I'm just like, I'll get to it later. Right? Let's move forward. Mike Tenay and Don West are talking to the camera. Rest in peace, Don West. You know what? At the time, I did not appreciate Don West. Typical of like a teenager or someone who's used to certain things, I fear change. I didn't want Mike Tenay's color commentator to be Don West. Where's Tony Schiavone? Where's Ed Ferrara? Where's the initial team that was commentating for TNA? I was very annoyed by it. Like, why isn't Scott Hudson out there with Mike Tenay? I don't like this at all. Who's Don West? Now that I look back, I realize how fucking good Don West was, how passionate Don West was, and how much he added to that product, and how much he helped Mike Tenay, who had never been in that position before as an announcer. He'd been kind of like the special comments guy, or he would join the team on Nitro if there was a Japanese match or a Mexican match or maybe a women's match. Although that was kind of more for Lee Marshall. But anyway. So like, yeah, I just wanted to say that. Like, when I watched this show, it made me think, wow, this is such pandemonium. And those two are applying the soundtrack that really, it helps it move along and it helps the pandemonium feel more. Mike cuts to some flashbacks from the past. Vince Russo makes his way to the ring. He's making his way to the ring. We get a shot of Mike Tenay shaking his head. Okay, Mike Tenay's boo-hoo face in TNA is amazing. It is amazing. It is so... he's terrible at it, but it makes it better. Russo comes out. He's looking like Jim Morrison, dude. The hair on Russo at this time. This is the best I've ever seen his hair. Unbelievable. Vince runs down the audience on the microphone, accusing the South of disloyalty, bestiality, and incest. He starts hyping up AJ Styles. He tells the world that AJ was better than Shawn Michaels was, better than Bret Hart, better than Sting. Ladies and gentlemen, the world heavyweight champion, AJ, like, he built him up, man. He really made him seem important. AJ being given the ball here in his younger years. He's got the short haircut. He looks like Tom Cruise. We got Tom Cruise and Jim Morrison in the ring here. It's so funny listening to AJ talk back then because, man, was his voice Southern. That is a Southern accent if I've ever heard one. Mike Tenay has heard enough when AJ's talking about what Vince Russo's done for him. Tenay gets in the ring. He gets on the mic. He gets on AJ's case about being brainwashed by Russo. Mike Tenay calls Vince a son of a bitch. I love that Mike Tenay, back then, they used him in this role where he wouldn't stand for certain things and he would actively get involved like this because he was so upset at the injustices that he would see taking place thanks to people like Vince Russo. This is probably the best. I'm being honest. This is probably the best I've seen anybody utilize a commentator. Like Mike Tenay was utilized in a way where he gave a shit on this level. You see other companies, they don't really do a lot with them, you know. Back in the day, Jerry Lawler might like, host a segment, or he might do a little short angle with like Taz or whatever for a bit, but like he was a former wrestler. Mike Tenay's not a former wrestler here. He's just a commentator. But I just think the way that they used him, the way that he was involved in the stories and the angles and all that, it was, good for him. Anyway, Vince cuts Mike down, talks about what the business is really about. You know, just, this is what professional wrestling is. If you need to get ahead, if you want to get ahead, this is the way you go about it. You should know this by now, Mike. Whatever it was he said. D'Lo Brown makes his entrance. He interrupts. This is another thing I want to bring up that I really enjoyed about TNA back in the day, is that Vince Russo would always write or give dot points to the wrestlers and have them talk about real life things that are actually real in their life. And D'Lo talking about Russo helping him in the WWF, Russo believing that D'Lo Brown could be a main event guy, but other people behind the scenes there wouldn't allow that to happen. D'Lo Brown is here in TNA. Another thing that I like. D'Lo's getting time to talk on the fucking microphone. When did you ever see him really get a good opportunity in the WWF to cut those promos? When Russo was writing, yeah, he would let D'Lo have those opportunities. He'd give him those dot points and let D'Lo be the best D'Lo he could be. Outside of that, no one ever fucking gave a shit about D'Lo Brown that worked behind the scenes in the WWE or WWF. They never tried to do anything else with him on an important level anyway. So he talks about being helped in the WWF by Russo, that, he helped his career so much. And then D'Lo, that's, can't believe that Russo's been acting the way he's been acting. Same with AJ. He hit some home truths to AJ. It's a long segment here, and I know people whinge about the talking segments. They talk for too long. Like, more wrestling. Fuck up, man. I don't know what's this fucking this thing that goes around with wrestling fans that need long matches. Oh, none of these matches went over 10 minutes of this show. So fucking what? So fucking what? Let's have a look. One match went over 10 minutes on this show. And it didn't bother me at all. So I don't know why it bothers other people that they pile the shows full of story and we do get matches. They don't need to go forever. It's like, all right, we get it. Let's just get to the finish. Okay. Anyway. Okay. So I like this segment because we're learning about these characters and we're learning to care about these characters because the dialogue is out there and it just helps us learn about them. You can't learn about people just by watching them have a fucking wrestling match. Like, what do we know about Will Ospreay? He kicks out of everything. The spot that happened to this segment, sorry, D'Lo Brown gets talked down to by Vince Russo. He says that he has a spot on his team for D'Lo waiting for him. He can be Russo's little bitch. What did he think was going to happen? D'Lo smacks Russo in the face. AJ and Vince then attack D'Lo. Raven makes the save, who has just been, he's only been in the company for a cup of coffee at this stage. He wants to get his hands on Vince Russo. He gets a hold of Russo, but then Shane Douglas runs out, gets involved, lays Raven out. So we're getting a feud here, kicking off with Shane Douglas and, excuse me, Raven. And that was something that I wanted to check. Raven cage match. Because I know that these two had a feud in TNA, but I have a feeling that they never touched in ECW. Shane Douglas. Okay, I am wrong. They did wrestle quite a bit in ECW. A lot of live events, but no pay-per-views, no televised episodes. I don't know. Okay, yeah, there must have been a few. They did tag together. Actually, I think all the singles matches they had, unless Big Ass Extreme Bash 96 is available to watch. But anyway, they're finally having the feud that they was probably supposed to have in ECW, you know. I don't know if a lot of people are aware, but like Raven and Sabu never had a feud in ECW, so they made up for that here in TNA. And that was one thing I liked about TNA. They made up for certain things, right? Like they made up for the fact that I just realized that the flag's fucking sitting there like that. Oh, looks like trash behind me. What was I saying? They would make up for certain things. They would rehash certain programs from the past. Anyway, this segment gets split up by the fucking red shirt security. Dude, I hated the red shirt security. I don't know why. Um, because I'm pretty sure that they won the tag titles at one stage, didn't they? Let's have a look. I don't actually know. They didn't win the tag titles. Um, yeah, Kevin Northcutt and Ryan Wilson, the red shirt security. Fuck me. Anyway, I don't know why I hated them so much. Like, you know what? Let's move forward. I'm talking for fucking so long here, and we're not even halfway through the show. Goldilocks interviews Veronica and Tracy Brooks. I'm like, who is Veronica? I've never heard of her. Tracy Brooks cage match. I should have fucking searched this up earlier. Um, I'm sure she tagged with Veronica. They were known as Bitch Slap. Nope. 2003. Shit. Anything? No, she feuded with Trinity. Is there nothing here for her? Fucking hell. Veronica. I'm sorry, everyone. I just want to know. Veronica TNA. Wrestling. Simply Luscious. Is that her? TNA Wrestling Bitch Slap. Their team was called Bitch Slap. Let's have a look here. Okay, yep. So I've never heard of her, but she's also known as Simply Luscious. She's 50 years old now. Um, Good for her. Okay, sorry. Let's get back to the review. Let's. I don't know why I needed that side note, that sidebar. I'm gonna have to edit this. Okay, so anyway, um, Goldilocks is interviewing Veronica and Tracy Brooks. They're called Bitch Slap. I don't know what the fuck they were going on about, but Eric Watts then showed up and talked to Goldilocks about something that he had expected her to do. But she said that, you know, she's got a job to do here. She has to interview Kid Cash later. And then Watts says over his dead body. So I think something's been going on with Kid Cash and Eric Watts for the last few months or weeks. And this is, again, another interesting scenario. Like, how is Eric Watts and Kid Cash having a feud? It just seems like an odd, like a kind of an odd pairing. But anywho, we cut to a pre-tape of Alexis Lurie, aka Mickey James, and Julio De Niro freaking out about something. It was really like I kind of went, when I saw Alexis Lurie, I kind of went, oh, like she's so little. Like she's like, you know, this is 21 years ago. She was so little. This was before she was Mickey James. She's a little spring chicken. Um, And Julio, whatever the fucking happened to Julio? He last wrestled in 2019, apparently. Um, right. Anyway, so CM Punk just enters the fucking screen, dude, whilst they're having this conversation. And it kind of like shocked me a little bit because he was so like skinny and little. And this is the thing about this show, watching this 21 years later, everyone looks so different. Everyone is so young. Punk talks about wanting to join the gathering. Julio was worried that there will be no gathering anymore. And then Punk says, something along the lines of that, you know, I think maybe he wanted to try and lead the group or something like that. I don't fucking know. Anyway, he wants to join the group. Okay, so let's get to the next one. We get highlights of AJ becoming the first ever X Division champion. Speaking of which, the X Division championship is on the line in the next matchup here. Chris Sabin, who was just X Division champion a few months ago, he's defending the championship here against Paul London. Paul London, dude, he has wrestled 18 matches this year, but from 2018 to 2022, he did not wrestle. Again, Chris Sabin looking so little here with his long fucking hair. And again, I got to keep iterating these types of things. It is so crazy realizing how stacked the industry, how stacked the industry was at the time. This era is so fun. You know why? Because a lot of the top guys now are only just getting started in the business back then, and you're seeing these guys interacting with the guys who are kind of like slightly past their biggest moment in their careers, you know, like a Raven, etc. Still got a lot of gas left in the fucking tank, but they're interacting with each other. Like, I never thought I'd see things like this. I never thought I'd see like CM Punk in a stable led by a Raven. Like, that's crazy to me. You forget about these things. Anyway, just so stacked, dude. So stacked. Another thing I wanted to point out, and this is so fucking important, dude. I'm going to put up a picture on the screen right now of this. The wrestling fan back then, 2003, they all look like regular people. This is so plainly fucking obvious that we still have like the remnants of the Monday Night Wars and wrestling being cool, and it still being something that kind of brings in casual fans, brings in regular people. Just, I saw like dudes at ringside, just dudes wearing fucking jackets and shit, hanging out. They got a beer, they're hanging out with their mate, they're enjoying the fucking show. You know, behind Don West and Mike Tenay, there was like 3 or 4 like quite attractive women, like having fun, going to the fucking wrestling. You don't see shit like that anymore. Everyone's a fucking loser. Everyone's a fucking nerd. And don't get me wrong, I like nerds. I'm a fucking nerd, okay? But I have a level of cool to me, you know, a level of, I'm an appropriate person. I'm not weird. I put on deodorant. I put on cologne. I have showers. Now it's just turned into this circus of fucking like, just like what I'd expect Star Wars nerds to be. Don't get me wrong. There are cool guys out there. There are cool chicks out there for sure. Definitely. You know, a lot of the cool ones end up getting into the business. But dude, like, it's just night and day when you look at the fans here at this show and fans of today. You know, there'll be a fucking 40-year-old dude who's, you know, probably a bit overweight, wearing a, you know, he's, yeah, wearing like a Sesame Daddy, like a pink Sesame Daddy shirt. And it's like, who wants to hang out with that guy? I'd rather hang out with these fucking dudes at ringside who have a beer in their hand, they're wearing a leather jacket or whatever the fuck, and they're just enjoying the show. Cool. That guy's me. That's me. I wear that fucking leather jacket. Okay. To the match, Paul London. That drop kick of his was something else, wasn't it? I believe people used to call it the drop salt, but it was something. This match was innovative, dude. Like, some of the moves that they were hitting in this match, I thought, Jesus Christ, like, this is what I also remembered of the X division back then. You didn't really, like, you'd seen the WCW Cruiserweight division, but some of the stuff that they were doing back then, they laid it in. You know, dives to the outside look like because of happenstance, not because someone's waiting there to catch somebody. You know, it's not so overly, it didn't look so overly choreographed. It still looked like a fight. Great stuff, though. CM Punk walked out at one stage. This, okay. There are times when like I'm a fan of Vince Russo, but there are times when he's writing the show where something happens and I'm like, don't fucking do that. You can't do that. So Punk walks out. Punk rolls into the ring whilst London and Sabin are in the other corner, kind of jostling near the turnbuckle. Punk lays in the other corner, the adjacent corner, like Raven does when he makes his entrance, right? And Punk's just sitting there in the corner. The referee's got his back to Punk the whole time. Referee hasn't even noticed that Punk got into the ring. The referee's just like looking in the other direction. Paul London hit a shooting star press, right? He nailed it on Chris Sabin. Sabin's selling, right, in the corner. Sabin's selling in the corner. And the referee's just checking on Chris Sabin. He's just like right up in his face, checking to see if he's okay. In the background, Punk grabs Paul London and DDTs him. And then Punk leaves the ring. And then Sabin hit the aftershock and retained. And I'm like, okay. I think the referee's name was Andrew Thomas. It is such fucking bullshit that referee was that stupid and that aloof that he didn't notice Punk getting in the ring or Punk hitting a DDT to screw London to try and like impress Raven. I thought that was so fucking moronic. No, if I wish I would have been in the room and be like, we can do better than that, bro. We can do better than that. Definitely. I haven't been angry at much on this show, but that right there, I did not like that spot whatsoever. I don't know if Vince wrote that. I don't know if an agent gave them that kind of finish, but it was just stupid. You can't make the referees look that fucking aloof and thick. Anyway, backstage, Goldilocks has an interview with New Jack. Goldilocks is awesome, man. I love Goldilocks. I would definitely date her. By the way, also I have exclusive interviews with David Young. Anyone else? Goldilocks on the Insider's Edge podcast on this channel. Unfortunately, not many others, but she's interviewing another guy that I've interviewed, New Jack, on this channel. So New Jack is talking about Mike Sanders in the Hard 10 tournament. I don't know why they put this together, but I'm not offended by it. Jack cuts his usual harsh promo on what he's going to do to Mike Sanders, who's his opponent. Shark Boy shows up, wants to play more ball games. New Jack says that he doesn't have time to play with him right now. This is great, dude. It's so good that New Jack had a sense of humor about himself enough to know that him and Shark Boy as a duo would be gold. Anyway, New Jack finishes his promo. Interview's done. Kid Cash walks into the shot. He calls for some random scary dude who lives in this cage backstage. This is so stupid. He's living in a cage backstage, this fucking random scary dude, right? And Kid Cash is asking for his help later. And I'm like, what is this about? I had no idea, but it would come to be later. I would figure it out, and I'll tell you what that is in a little bit. We get some more highlights of past things that happened in TNA. Jasmine St. Clair giving a strip tease for Jeremy Borash. Chris Rock coming out and cutting a promo about, TNA is the best wrestling in the world. And man, they're really, like, back then they were really trying to fucking get as many celebrities as they could to come on board and give him a bit of a rub. Mike Sanders and New Jack coming up next in this match. Dude, I'm saying it. I'm going to keep saying it. Lollipop this whole show, because every time there's an entrance, maybe just for one of the wrestlers, every time there's a close-up of Lollipop, and like it was driving me up the fucking wall, dude. God, I'm just pathetic, dude. Fun facts, New Jack only wrestled 2 more matches in TNA after this. And another fun fact that I did not see coming, Mike Sanders wrestled one last match after this against Shark Boy 2 weeks later on the 52nd episode of TNA's pay-per-views. I just want to know, why did Mike Sanders leave TNA? Because like he was, Russo was a big proponent, big fan of Mike Sanders. So maybe he just wanted to get out of the business. Sanders was in a bulletproof vest, which I thought was funny. He hits New Jack with a trash can lid, and he repeats these shots on him because every time he hits someone with a weapon in a hard 10 match, it is 1 point, and you got to get to 10 points. So he ends up with 6-1. He's in a 6-1 lead. Like, if this were real, why didn't he just fucking hit him 10 times? But, you know, you can't take it that literally with the wrestling. You got to give it a rest every now and then. Shark Boy wanders out at one stage. New Jack puts a cookie sheet or something between Mike Sanders' legs and shatters his testicles with a 2x4. New Jack ascended to the top rope, wanting to put Sanders through a table. Shark Boy wants him to use the Hulk hands. It's those big, incredible Hulk hands. New Jack puts the Hulk hand on. He poses like Hulk Hogan, and then he punches Sanders off the ring apron through the table and wins the match because that was a 5-pointer. So there we go. New Jack moves through to the final of the Hard 10 tournament. We get a package for the female phenom, Trinity, who I've interviewed. You can check that exclusive interview out on this channel, Insider's Edge podcast. They were really going with her at this stage, and I remember talking to her about this. And, I think she was like, they were setting her up to be like their, top women's wrestler. But I think they just didn't have enough opponents for her, really. And she had an opportunity to go to WWE. And then after that didn't really pan out, they didn't bring her back in and do much with her. She's hot, dude. Hot as fuck. And I think they should have brought in a women's title for her at this stage. I thought the promo, though, was put together quite oddly. It didn't lead me to feeling more endeared by her. I was endeared by her when I interviewed her because I saw the personality wasn't brought out in this promo. Anyway, they go to cut to a package of Dusty Rhodes making his debut, Raven making his debut, D'Lo Brown making his debut. One complaint I had, though, do not take the camera off Lollipop if she's just about to turn around. Don't you dare. Just Incredible takes on Jerry Lynn in the next match. So just Incredible for my fun facts here. He still drags his useless fat ass around. Sorry. I still don't like him. Okay. He tried to scam me out of money when I tried to interview him years ago. He tried to scam me out of money, saying that he needed money for food and that if I could send him the money ahead of time, we'll do the interview the next couple of days, but I really need money now for food, lol. I remember he said that to me, and I was like, oh shit, I better send him some money. I can't believe he doesn't have any money. Little do I know, he used this fucking excuse all the time with people. I just saw the other day someone talking about the fact that he said he needed money for medication and food for his kid. That is the oldest fucking bullshit lie in the fucking book, mate. Oldest fucking bullshit lie in the book. There was this woman that lived down the road from me a few years back, and once she came panicking up to my back gate saying, oh, does anyone have like $5-10? I need to go to the chemist and get this medication for my kid, but I don't have any money. So I gave her like $15 or something. She was very happy about that. And then like a fucking week later, she's at my back gate and she's like, oh, now I need the medication for myself or something like that. And I was like, no, I don't have any cash for me. Sorry. And then like a few weeks later, she knocks on my fucking front door. And I open the door and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this shit? And she just plain as day just says to me, do you have any uppers? And I'm like, no. And I fucking slam the door in her face. But these fucking excuses are fucking old hat, mate. So I know you're full of shit, Peter. You fucking scam. I'm not the first person he's scammed either. Like, I was a fan of this guy. I was a fan of PJ Polacco. when I was a kid. I bought his figurine at a collector's fair. The dude gave it to me for $20 because I didn't have 25. My mum had only given me 20. I was a kid. And the guy realized, oh, he really wants the figurine. I'll give it to him for 20. Like, that's a story right there of my fandom of a person. And the cunt years later fucking tries to scam me out of money. Fuck you, you hack, you fucking useless cunt. Get your fucking life together. You look like a fucking piece of shit, dude. I saw you work in an indie show recently, or in the last few months. You look like shit. Get your life together. Fuck me. Anyway, sorry for the rant. I don't know why I suddenly got mad over that. It's been ages. Jerry retired in 2013 and is staying like that. Good on you, Jerry. Anyway, the rip-off theme songs are actually pretty good. You know, they're the snap your fingers, snap your neck theme for Justin here. Justin looking skinny here, off the gas, clearly. He's not like, he was a bit more jacked at ECW, you know, had a bit more definition. At this stage, he was a bit more skinnier. I've even written here, it's such a shame. I was actually a big fan of his till he tried to scam me. Like, he was a great wrestler. He was a great wrestler, but now he's a fucking asshole. They clearly had some chemistry, these two. It was such a cool era of TNA, dude. I'm telling you right now, this blend of WWF, WCW, ECW guys is something that you never thought you would see. Justin cheats to win with the ropes. Referee was confused about the whole thing. I don't know. I thought that referee looked stupid the whole show. The two won't stop fighting one another. The bell keeps ringing over and over and over. And I'm like, you know what? WWF never gave Justin Credible an angle. They never gave him shit. He did stuff with X Factor, obviously, but other than that, they didn't really fucking do anything with him. And I'm thinking, oh, this must be Justin Credible's last angle somebody made an effort with him for on television. Maybe he did some angles in some independent companies, but you know, this is probably his last angle. And then I checked. He worked a lights out match, a chain match, and a last man standing match with Jerry Lynn after this, and then left TNA, only working twice there in future against Raven and Stevie Richards. So Raven in 05 and Stevie in 2010 at Hardcore Justice. Let's move forward. I'm talking for a long time here. Road Dogg, Rod Killings, and Conan was backstage talking, having a chat. This is Ron Killings back in the day, dude. Like, he looks so young. And I'm like, how is this guy not under WWF contract at the time? He was K-Quick at one stage. They got rid of him, and I never really understood why. Because the dude's so athletic. He's so charismatic. It just blew my mind. Anyway, he was cool. Road Dogg asks him about fried chicken. I mean, I don't know what this was about. I don't know why it was written this way, but it was so dumb. R-Truth ended up saying "your mama" to him. Conan, he's dealing with Road Dogg's bullshit. He's interviewing him whilst holding like a sheet of paper that's rolled up, using that as a microphone. You could see Conan nearly fucking started laughing. Road Dogg asks him what the Taco Bell dog is really like. Ron then makes fun of Road Dogg's fat gut. Road Dogg realizes the sheet of paper he has isn't even his own notes. Conan talks about wanting to party, talks about the fact that he's got some smoke, and Road Dogg ends the segment in a panic. I don't know what the fuck they were doing here, okay? This was a bit of nonsense. Anyway, the next thing I fucking see on my screen is Kenzo Suzuki making his entrance to the ring, and I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know Kenzo was in TNA at one stage. He's facing Perry Saturn. And I was like, this is crazy, dude. This is crazy. By the way, Sabin and London went 7:53. New Jack and Sanders went 5:33. Wow, Justin and Jerry only went 2 minutes 43. Fuck me. This was Saturn's final match in TNA. This was Kenzo's only match in TNA. After a tour with New Japan, Perry fell off the face of the earth with his drug addiction only a few months down the line, probably about 4 or 5 months. Kenzo, 49 years old now, seems like he's winding down these days. But he was quite jacked at this stage, more jacked than you would remember him being when he was in WWE and teaming with Rene Dupree. I will say, watching this matchup, Perry Saturn seemed a bit off. He hit a really weird springboard splash. He fell over trying to slam Kenzo. Just didn't seem right. But then he hits an elbow drop off the top rope that's fucking picture perfect. Then, okay, right. I didn't understand this fucking at all. I know Saturn was working for one Japanese company. Kenzo was working for another one. Maybe they had to have a schmoz finish here. But just incredible fucking came out and attacked Saturn with a kendo stick out of the blue. And then Jerry Lynn attacked Justin to keep that thing going where they won't stop fucking fighting each other and they keep having to get split up. Saturn and Kenzo kept fighting. And I'm like, that was odd. You know, there are things about Vince Russo's writing that I really fucking like, man. Like the beginning of this show, you saw a package of what happened last week and what the stakes are this week. And it was just like, it reminded me of how dramatic and how much of a soap opera wrestling used to be. But there are also times where I don't know if he's written something and it's intended for it to look a certain way, but then the agents give them the wrestlers the notes on what to do and the finish and all that, and things get all kind of mucked up and messed up, you know, which leads to things not making sense. I thought that this was just, I thought it was odd that Justin would run out, hit Saturn with a kendo stick, and Jerry would be still like hot at his tail. Like it just, I don't, it's just, it doesn't compute because they didn't do anything with this afterward because Saturn never wrestled for the company again. Justin never had anything to do with Saturn again because he only worked 3 more matches against Jerry Lynn for this run. Just odd. Anyway, Goldilocks backstage. I really like Goldilocks on interviews because she always shows like an attitude. You know, she always scrunches her face up really good. And she's just, her facial expressions help, you know, tell the story of, you know, the straight man or the straight woman talking to this fucking asshole, which in this case is AJ Styles, who, you know, she said something along the lines of, you know, I'm having a hard time swallowing what you know, the way you've been acting lately or whatever. And AJ said something like, yeah, well, you know, judging from you, I thought you'd like to. I don't know how he said it, but yeah, knowing you, you know, I thought you like to swallow. And I'm like, that is so fucking rude. I know some people, like, I'm going to read some comments from cagematch.net soon. People like thinking, oh, misogynistic. Like, he's a fucking cunt. He's an asshole. That's the character. There's people actually talk to people like that. You're trying to make him hated. Like, what else do you get him to do? Oh, there's other things. Shut up. Shut up. We get more footage of stuff from the past. Toby Keith suplexing Double J Jeff Jarrett, Hermie Sadler and Sterling Marlin. You know, NASCAR drivers. They get involved in an angle with Ron Killings and Brian Christopher, where they helped launch Killings out of the ring. Tennessee Titans getting into a fight with Jeff Jarrett, and then Sports Entertainment Extreme come out and they all start fucking brawling. Oh man, I'm just like, what the like? They really got a good rub from a lot of people. But one thing I will say is that they put this. I know that this is probably what you need to do to get the celebrity to do shit, but they put them over too much, you know. Anyway, coming up next, shit. I've been talking for ages here, dude. I've been talking for ages, nearly an hour. Coming up next, Triple X. If you remember Triple X, that's Low Key, Christopher Daniels, and Elix Skipper taking on America's Most Wanted for the tag team titles. Triple X made their entrance, and I'm like, that theme song does not suit them. But you know what? I liked Sports Entertainment Extreme. I liked that group. I actually wouldn't mind finding a t-shirt of that. America's Most Wanted come out, and like, man, they really were something, hey? If you want to check out my exclusive interview with Chris Harris from AMW, it's on this channel. I didn't miss anyone else, did I? No. Okay, so let's keep going. Hell of a roster here. Hell of a roster. Triple X were great. What a great team. It's so funny seeing everyone so young and full of piss and vinegar. Great drama between these two teams. Great tag team wrestling. Actually, total nonstop action. That's what this match was. Great near falls. Harris hit a spear at one stage where you thought it was it. They put together such a great match here. They slid a title. Low Key was at ringside. He slid the title belt to Daniels. Daniels failed in his attempt. Cops a death sentence from AMW. Elix Skipper pulls the referee out when you thought that was it. That was like the last near fall where you thought this is the final. This is it. This is AMW winning the belts. After Elix has pulled the referee out, we get the title belt to the head from Daniels, and there's the pinfall. Triple X win. What a match. Match of the show. And that went 7 minutes and 3 seconds. You know what? It didn't feel like it was a short match. Like, a lot of people be like, 7 minutes? At least give it 12. Fuck you, dickhead. Like, you know, like Saturn and Kenzo went 4 minutes 35. You know what? I thought that was fucking appropriate. I thought that was an appropriate amount of time. I didn't need to see Kenzo and Perry go 17 minutes, you know? I don't know what it is with you people. Why do you need to see matches go so long for? Why do you need them to kick out of so many things? Fucking get a grip. Okay. Jerry Jarrett has an interview about the NWA and the past and future. Eric Watts comes out. This is the first time Eric Watts has really given a fucking chance to really be a character on TV without his dad being in charge. I thought Eric was great on the mic. And I saw, oh man, I'll get to it. Kid Cash comes out. He's taping his fists. I didn't understand what the fuck Kid Cash was going on about and what Eric Watts was going on about here. Eric Watts is saying that like Kid Cash likes to beat women, and Kid Cash is saying that, yeah, he likes to beat women. And I'm like, what are you two fucking going on about? What is this? Again, like, I fucking really enjoyed this show, but there were things that just didn't fucking make sense to me. Anyway, Cash ends up saying that, you know, he's going to make Eric his little bitch or something like that. I don't know. The whole point of the woman beating thing was to like compare, you know, if Eric wants to act like a woman or something, then he can make him his little bitch. I don't know. We already had the little bitch comment earlier. We only need one little bitch. That's out of context. That is pretty funny. Anyway, Eric cleans Cash's clock. Eric cleans Cash's clock. Wow, that's a hard sentence to say. Then on the big screen, as Eric is about to choke slam Kid Cash, Goldilocks is being, you know, kind of attacked and but not really being attacked, just being like haunted by this guy who will end up one day being Abyss, right? So this must be when they're introducing the character. So Eric lets Kid Cash go and then runs backstage to stop him. Bro, execute the choke slam. Like if you had him in the air and you saw that, I'll just fucking slam him down and then run. Like, why would you just let him go? Anyway, Eric comes charging in. He's putting the boots to the padlock. That's because they're padlocked in there. As Cash hits Eric in the back, Eric collides with the fucking door next to him, and the door opens wide, and there was some like one of the guys on the show. I don't know who it was. I can't think of who it was. It might have been Saturn. I don't know. Maybe it was Saturn. Anyway, the door goes wide open, and there's a guy like in their G-string in the. I was like, what the fuck happened there? Anyway, Cash laid out Eric Watts to end this segment. And we never heard anything about it after that. I think maybe we needed a bit of a follow-up, you know. Like Goldilocks had to have been at least released from the cage. Anyway, Dodd and Mike run down next week. America's Most Wanted interrupt. They challenge Triple X to a cage match for the following week, which would be apparently the first cage match in TNA history. And Don and Mike again, what a great commentary team. Okay, let's get to our main event of the evening here, because I still need to read some comments, but AJ Styles and his mystery partner taking on Sting and Jeff Jarrett. Sting's first match since WCW. Big mistake, WWE. You should have fucking tried everything you could to sign him at that stage, because he still could go. He still had an aura about him. But of course, we know what you would have done, because Vince McMahon is a fucking prick and a fucking idiot and just buried all the WCW guys. But Russo came out. He was on the commentary, guest commentary for this match. He's really convincing with his plight and passion. When he talks, you believe he believes what he's saying. X-Pac, Six-Pac, Sean Waltman, he's in this match. He barely wrestled between 2003 and 2004. This must have been his addiction years, because something just didn't seem right. He looked like he's wearing pajamas when he wrestled. I don't know why he wasn't wearing his gear. Anyway, so Jarrett's in this match. I think it did hurt TNA a little bit. By the way, I've got an interview with Jeff Jarrett on this channel. Just check it out. I think it hurt having Jarrett always in a prominent spot in TNA. It kind of made people be like, come on, man. You know, we're already dealing with that with Triple H over on the other channel. So great little match here. We get a ref bump at one stage. Russo hits Jarrett with a baseball bat. Raven attacks Russo. Douglas attacks Raven again. You know what? Maybe a little bit too much interference in these matches. I mean, they weren't in every match, but you know, we didn't need the CM Punk thing with the London Saban match. We didn't need that. What else is there? No, we didn't get anything in the first match. Sanders and New Jack. Shark Boy kind of got involved, but that wasn't too bad. Saturn and Kenzo. We did not fucking need Just Incredible and Jerry Lynn to come out there. If you wanted to do something else with those two, you could have spliced them brawling backstage or something, not brawling all the way back out to the ring and suddenly Justin has a kendo stick. Like, have them fucking be seen fighting backstage. You know, they didn't need to come out and fuck that match. You could have just had Saturn and Kenzo go to a fucking double count out. Whatever. All right, anyway, back to the fucking main event. So yeah, a bit of interference here. Raven attacks Russo. Douglas attacks Raven, as I said. Every TNA weekly pay-per-view, though, I will say, it felt like it was pandemonium. It felt like it was like the most important thing ever. So, you know what? Props to them for the aura that they created. Jarrett pins AJ. Russo gets beaten up and then runs off. Raven and Jarrett face off. Sting plays Peacemaker. Jarrett, Sting, and Raven all have their arms lifted up in the air. Mike Tenay and Don West are really happy. And we go off the air with a happy ending for the first year anniversary of TNA, or NWA TNA. So there we have it, everyone. I'm going to read some comments from cagematch.net. I thought the wrestler of the show was Sting. I thought he just killed it out there, and he looked as good as ever. And you can just tell he's like, as a performer, on a completely different level than a lot of these guys. Match of the show, as I said, was America's Most Wanted and Triple X. And the most attractive person on the show was Lollipop. Yep. Let's get to these comments, okay? Okay, so like, I really enjoyed the show, and yesterday I was thinking I was going to give it a 9 out of 10 for a weekly kind of pay-per-view weekly show. I'm going to move it back to an 8 out of 10. Not that there's a fine science behind it, but as I was doing the review, realizing some of the things, you know, I didn't even have certain things written in my notes here that made me realize, you know, the Justin interference with Saturn and a few things not really making sense to me. So I'll pull it back to an 8, but I was entertained. No matches overstayed their welcome. I learned a lot about the different scenarios taking place within the company. In 2021, Mizzle Assault Ant gave it a 3 out of 10. For an anniversary show, this is not too good, but why deviate from the formula when it isn't working? Saban versus London was a great short match, and the tag team match was quite good as well. I appreciate also that they are trying to keep stories going, even if many of them kind of stink. The main event was a huge disappointment. How was the main event a disappointment? What the fuck is wrong with you? Russo's back to booking himself in 6 promos a night. No, it wasn't 6. It was like 2. Decided to go on commentary and shriek over everything that happened. No, he didn't. He answered questions. You're exaggerating and you're creating a narrative that isn't there. Crowd was excited, but this crowd will seemingly pop for anything. Fuck off. Don't fucking talk down about them, bro. Don't you dare talk. Oh, sorry. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, but don't talk about those fans like that. They are fucking way cooler than you. They don't go on cagematch.net and leave their little rating, okay? Fuck me. It's fucking hilarious to me, bro. Like, some of these fans, like, this crowd will seemingly pop for anything, so that doesn't tell you much. It ended up being a huge glut of overbooking as usual. Plus, we have many other poor angles going on. You don't know anything about wrestling, dude. So fuck you. Like, if this is wrestling supposed to be a male soap opera. Oh, Moose Nugget. This was the most TNA show I've ever seen in my life. Really, Vince Russo was out of control this period of the company's history. He's all over the show, including the opening. He wasn't all over the show. He wasn't all over the fucking show. He was in like fucking two or three segments. What the fuck are you going on about, cunt? I'm making out that Frankie Kazarian has been endorsed by the Sandman, who, while Frankie is wrestling, continues his entrance in the crowd. I figured Frankie would get the win, but it seems like D'Lo was getting a push. X Division title was good. Wasn't a fan of the finish. Have to say the show should get a 0 for totally failing. Great, but damn, New Jack is so amazing. Whatever, blah, 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 blah. Like the World Tag Team match until the interference. You guys get so fucking hung up on that shit. There was too much going on in the main event with Shane Douglas brawling with Raven while the match is happening. Waltman looked terrible. Okay, I agree with some of these things. I don't think it looked terrible. And whatever. Okay, let's look at this other one. I watched this along with the Deadlock Boys because they reviewed it for their podcast. There was some good wrestling, but overall, Vince Russo can't write or book a good show to save his fucking life. You don't know anything. You don't know anything. You take what other people say and apply that as your opinion. Because if you actually watched the Attitude Era and you watched Raw every single week and you didn't have all these people's thoughts infiltrating you, I guarantee you'd realize that Vince Russo can write a wrestling show. Awful skits, racist and misogynistic angles. Go watch Sesame Street, dude. Go watch Sesame Street, and nothing racist happened on this show. It was Road Dogg saying stupid shit to Poppy's friends, and they didn't set that. Why would they agree to it if they had a problem with it? And Eric Watts, pure unadulterated garbage. By the way, this their name's Ladder Match. Nothing wrong with Eric Watts, dude. Nothing wrong with Eric Watts. Yes, I said that. Let's have a look. Not a very good show at all, but a funny watch with some of the shit that they threw at the wall, ranging from genuinely funny New Jack Shark Boy bit to just a terrible amount of Russo. Get off his dick, man. And the train wreck BG James interview. Saban London and Triple X AMW are actually good, though. See, this is it. This is what cagematch.net is. Cagematch.net is for wrestling fans that only like wrestling matches. They don't like sports entertainment. They don't like this stuff. They've given this, out of 14 votes, 3.67 out of 10. I gave it an 8. So look, this is the kind of wrestling I prefer. I'm sorry. Like, I'm so sorry that I prefer shit like this over a 60-minute match between two guys on television that ends with a terrible ref bump after they've kicked out of everything and he hits him with a little ring on his finger and wins the match. Like, you're cool with that, but you're gonna fucking shit all over this. Well, fuck you. It's all right. Each to their own. People can have their own opinions. Whatever. Who gives a shit? So there we have it. The TNA first anniversary show review here, retro reviews here on the Slam Society. I'm Karlifornia. Thank you for joining me, and we will see you tomorrow for Slammiversary. Thank you.